you actually go to AC Milan, one of the most storied soccer clubs in the world. And I'm going to read off some names just so people know how stacked that team was. Andrea Pirlo, Ronaldinho, Dida, Seedorf, David Beckham, Huntelaar, Pato, Renato Gattuso, Alessandro Nesta, Kevin Prince Boateng, Robinho, and Zlatan, to name a few. What was your first experience just stepping on to that field, to that locker room? What was that like?
To be honest, like in my head, I built it up, right? So you're like, oh shoot, you've arrived, right? Now you have to see what this kind of locker room is like, what this kind of environment is like. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised to know and to see that the locker room was very just much like every other locker room, like
Right.
jokers and cool cats and all that stuff. So I was welcomed, because everybody's just a down to earth person, or most everybody was a down to earth person. So I felt good there, and made a lot of friends and had a lot of good relationships.
Well, first off, if Belgium was a lot of attention for you and you were the best players in Belgium, what's it like now when you're a Milan player in Italy? What's that attention like?
Um, yeah, it's, to be fair, I've been fortunate with some of the clubs I've been on, in regards to the country. So like when you're in Belgium and you're playing for either Anderlecht or Liège, like everyone knows you wherever you go, and
Right.
you're known. When I went to Milan, it was no different. When you play for Inter or Milan or Juventus, or if you play for one of those top three, like everyone knows you, and especially within the city, everyone knows you, and it's good. It feels good. You get certain accesses that you probably normally wouldn't, and it's a great city, and then it's an even better club. It's a very family oriented club. And you don't think about that when you hear the name AC Milan, but when you're within it, they protect you, right? All you have to worry about is football.
Hey, let's talk about that team for a second. I mean, anytime you play on a great team, there are always these questions asked about what was it like, these players. For you, day in, day out, you got to see these players train. You got to see their habits. You got to see how good and bad they were. Who's the most talented on that team?
Ronaldinho. Like I say, people will argue, and probably right, his time in Milan probably wasn't his peak. His peak was probably at Barcelona.
Yes.
But you still saw it, right? And you could still see it, like the stuff that he does with ease while he's laughing or just joking around. It would take the average player probably 2 months every day to practice it, and I think that in regards to talent, he's probably the most talented.
Obviously, he's been in the news for his recent legal troubles, the falsification of documents, international documents, and he was actually jailed for a period of time in Paraguay. What's going through your head when you see this news?
What's going through my head is that the same thing could have happened to me with fake IDs in Clemson University, trying to get into bars and whatnot. But no, it's unfortunate, and hopefully he sees the light at the end of it, and he's a great person. I don't think he's met a person in this world that will say any otherwise about him, and this will just be a blip on his storyline, because I don't think it's going to taint who he is or what he's done in the world of football.
He's so loved by everybody. I had the opportunity to play against him in Liga MX, and it's funny because it's well documented. After every game that he played with Querétaro, he would charter a private plane. Didn't matter where, if he played home or away. He played against us one time at Puebla, and we beat Querétaro 4-0. That day from Puebla, chartered a plane to Cancun. And after every game, he'd go to Cancun and he'd party. And he'd come out in all the tabloids in Mexico, because Mexico football is a big deal. And he didn't care. He would do this without fail. It's very well documented. I also heard in Milan, it was very well documented about his off-the-field endeavors. And I heard he'd had parties that would last 3 days.
I can't confirm nor deny those allegations. I can't, but I will say that in Milan, he got a bad rep, and that the partying that everyone said he did wasn't to the extent that everyone said he did it, right? Everybody liked to go out. Everyone had a good time, myself included. So I think that whenever anybody saw him going out, it was multiplied by 50. Like, oh, he's out, and it could be like half the team's right next to him, but they're like focusing on him, right? And like I said, like he's a good guy, and I think he's one of the only. There's a few of them that he can play at any stadium, and the away team are gonna applaud him. You know what I mean? Regardless where he's playing at, whether it be Madrid, whether it be Barcelona, any team, stadium, home or away, they're going to applaud him, and that's a rare feat for any player around the world.
Absolutely. Talk to me about the culture of that team, because I look at some of these names like Gennaro Gattuso, and obviously hard-nosed players, and obviously Italy's known for being more of a serious defensive grit type of league, at least back then. What was the culture like during the training sessions?
Italian culture is very tactical, and for a lot of offensive-minded and flair kind of players, it might get boring. For a defender, it's very educational, a lot of information based in regards to positioning, tactics. If this person moves, how do you move? And it's a lot of the coach talking and a little bit of you playing. And that's just the Italian style, and everyone says, oh, Italy's tactical. Spain is more technical and individual, but it was definitely that's the Italian. That's why they won the 2006 World Cup. They were strong as a unit. You couldn't break them down unless you were Team USA, who did. But we're not going to go back there. But the Italian mentality, the Italian culture is based around tactical soundness.
Hector Moreno, who's a Mexican national team player, when I interviewed him, he actually said, this is a comment that it's known now. When he was in Rome, he said, I didn't know how to defend until I got to Italy. When I get here, I realized I didn't know anything about defending, and I still had a lot to learn.
It's true. There's a lot of things, and especially as an American, right, that I wasn't taught. And I know a lot of there was one coach from the academy side, and I remember he said to me one day, he goes, you could have been the best defender in the world had you had been born in Italy.
Wow.
And he was like, you have so much of these raw talents, your strength, your ability, your mentality. He's like, but if you had been born in Italy, you would have been one of the best players in the world.
Is that what we're lacking in the United States? Was that what USSF is lacking at the coaching, the knowledge?
I mean, yeah, knowledge, but that comes with culture, and culture comes with time, right? You can't build a culture overnight. It's an ingrained atmosphere. It's an ingrained ideology. It's an ethos. And until that is formed and developed and nurtured and groomed, where do we stand? It's just about the different ideas bouncing off the wall.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.